Welcome, horror fam, to HHN 365, a Halloween Horror Nights podcast. As always, my name is Mike, and I'm here with my co-host Duff.
Hi, I'm very hyped today.
Yeah, hint, 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 hint. And our producer Nico.
Hey, howdy, hey.
On today's show, we finally have the opportunity, and it feels like it's been forever. We finally have our opportunity to release our very first hypeless show of HHN 365. But first, we actually have a ton of news to go over, Duff, don't we?
Yeah, there is.
Yeah.
There's a lot.
This could probably be its own show, so we're going to be very quick.
Yeah, I don't think so. It is going to be quick.
It absolutely could.
Let me actually, we have it laid out differently, but real quick, let me go over the other parks first. So Hollywood had some announcements. However, spoiler alert, next week we're going to be joined by Jonathan from the hotline once again to kind of wrap up our pre-HHN Hollywood episodes.
Hey,
and our hype list show for that.
Yeah,
well.
Exactly. We'll do a hype list for them as well. But I'll just kind of read off what these announcements are without going into detail and ruining next week for us. So we did have Halloween 4 announced as a house. The Terror Tram is returning as Terror Tram: The Ultimate Purge.
Woo.
The Walking Dead attraction is officially going to be returning for HHN. We have 3 scare zones: Universal Monsters, Silver Scream Queens, Chainsaw Ranger, and Demon City. And also the Jabberwockies are returning.
Oh, well, you can't win them all.
Ooh, I thought we weren't supposed to comment. Nico broke the rule.
Yeah,
all
that's
right.
Okay.
And there was a big announcement from another Universal Park a little bit further than Hollywood.
Yeah, I believe this one is in Osaka, so quite a bit of ways from Hollywood. Still west of us at the end of the day. If you want to fly
west or east, however you want to.
I mean, when you fly, you typically go west, so we would go
true.
west.
Yes.
Anyways, this is obviously going to be Universal Studios Japan. They have revealed that they will be hosting HHN again. We're getting this info from ThrillGeek.com. And I really couldn't find it anywhere else. So nice little scoop you got, at least for all the English readers out there. I will say one thing, it's kind of tough to tell if this is just all scare zones or if any of these are actual houses. Some sound like they're houses, but they're all listed under zones. But I'll just kind of read what they are in their descriptions. So first we have Cyber Monster Boulevard. While emitting a poisonous light, it attacks human beings regardless of their bait. A group of bloodthirsty monsters await you in a psychedelic world. That's it. I don't know. I was talking like there was more to it.
It almost sounded like you paused, like there was almost like two different things.
We were on pins and needles for that.
Sorry about that. That's where it ended. Next, we have Creepy Circus Road. Clowns and beasts suspiciously moaning in an eerie square. The weapon in hand, the huge head that was raised, a circus troupe of horror. I will say this is probably coming from translations, and that's why it's coming off a bit weird. But...
I was going to say, it's very, very literal. It's very, like...
No, I'm a big fan of this next one. It's Killer Cutie Avenue.
Oh, hell yeah.
Idol zombie who was infected with a virus during a concert is still on stage. I haven't forgotten my love for the fans, and there are zombies around me who are seen as otaku. So, yep.
Okay.
Pretty excited. It's about idols. So
that's a fun. That's
right.
We
also have DJX Death Square. Ruler DJX will hold an exciting feast at night. Enjoy a cruel and ferocious, horrifying party of all zombies roaming with full adrenaline.
I like that they call him a ruler. A ruler.
Yeah, I like Ruler DJX.
Yeah, that's pretty fun. That's
talking about like the 12-inch variety, or next we have DJX Psycho Street. Okay, it's rumored that DJX's secret enjoyment is repeated here on the back street of the DJX Psycho Street enthusiastic party. If you are prepared, please visit at your own risk.
Oh, so you have like Ruler DJX, and then you also have, or is this the same guy?
I believe this is the same guy.
Okay.
That's
it's not like Ruler DJX, and then there's DJX, but like because they added the ruler, it's like just enough different that they DJX won't sue ruler DJX for like copyright infringement.
You might have a point there, but the logos look so similar. I think it's the same guy.
Like DJ Khaled and Khaled. Is there the situation going on here?
Yes, that's exactly what's happening. No, we're not getting into that, Nico. Sorry. Moving on. GGG no Kitaro, the real horror maze. In the eerie abandoned village you arrive at, you become prey to the horrifying yokai. The world of the manga GGG no Kitaro appears at an unprecedented horror level that even supervised professional Mizuki is astonished. Despair that the dependable Kitaro suddenly runs out of power. While wandering lonely in the darkness, yokai are targeted by vivid yokai from all directions. What? Now cry for an unexpected, horrifying experience with no escape.
What?
What? But yeah, so that one actually sounds like it's a house, but we don't actually know.
But that's the only one that sounds like a house. So maybe there's only one. Yeah. Or maybe it's like an outdoor.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's a lot more to this event that I think we will figure out, and probably do a show sometime during the season about Japan. I mean, we've been wanting to do a real Japan show, I think, from the beginning.
Yep.
We just haven't got to it yet.
And hopefully when we do that, it'll be with more than Google Translate paragraphs.
Yes. So if you are have access to attending HHN Japan and would like to come on as our correspondent, shoot us an email or reach out on Twitter, because I think it's going to be hard to find someone this year who wants to do that.
Just a little. All right. Well, there's a few more. Let's get through this. So you have Sherlock Holmes, Cursed Rose Sword. Does that say sword? That does say sword. Invited to a movie preview, you encounter a cursed incident about the mansion where the film was set. The next victim of the horrific murder scene may be you. The way this is written out.
Maybe you.
Is that a house?
Hold on. There's another piece. Engage in an amazing mystery experience that gets caught up as part of the story of Detective Sherlock Holmes. It kind of sounds like their experience where like you get cocktails and you sign an NDA. I don't know if it is, but it kind of sounds like that, doesn't it?
Like one of the premiere experiences that they
It doesn't say that, but it kind of sounds like it a bit. We could be very off. Watch it be like a show or some shit. I don't know. We also have this is great. Zombie Day Dance. The Ratata dance, where everyone dances together using their whole body, is back again this year. That Hell Zombie Festival will once again dominate the park with even more fear and excitement. A nightmare dance party beyond common sense by DJX.
Oh, he's back.
He is the ruler.
Is DJX their icon?
I think he might be their icon.
Their icon.
They call their icons rulers over there. That's cool.
What? All right, hold on. Let me finish this and I'll get to this next part. Holy shit. That draws people into a whirlpool of enthusiasm becomes a reality. Diving into an unprecedented zombie dance with a poisonous cyber feeling. A what?
A what?
A poisonous cyber feeling. Yeah.
A poisonous cyber feeling?
Yeah, that's what I felt when Cyberpunk first came out and I played it.
Oh, yeah, me too. When we had to break it to Duff that he couldn't get it because his PS4 wouldn't be able to play it.
To be fair, a lot of people's PS5s couldn't either. So
that's true. That's true.
All right. So as you may know, there's a coaster out there called Hollywood Dream. They're actually going.
No way.
Have a limited time experience with the song "Rat Tat Tat" by Sandame J Soul Brothers. And also, hear me out. I could be wrong here, but if the image they have is the Hollywood Dream people on the coaster, and behind it, kind of like lightning and clouds, and there's this person in it, like maniacally laughing. It looks like, and they have an X across their chest.
Wait, Hollywood Dream is getting a HHN overlay?
It's just a song, but
okay, then, but it's just a special song.
But in this picture, I think we might see DJX. It's
okay.
It's someone maniacally laughing with an X across their chest.
Oh, all right.
He got long hair. We also have No Limit Time. It says Halloween Festa. I think it might be Halloween Fiesta. Including, because it says, including the fun minions in new Latin costumes, dance with friends and crew in Halloween costumes.
Okay, this is the kitty stuff. We're in the kitty stuff now.
We
because for those who don't know,
HHN, it ain't just HHN.
Yeah, it's a whole it included a park ticket. We're talking about way too much about Japan, and we're spoiling
we're almost
the
done.
episode.
Go ahead.
But we quickly explain if you have no clue what we're talking about. HHN Japan is like included in the park ticket, and it starts from the park open, and it's a kind of family friendly up until it gets dark, and then it gets scary.
Mm-hmm.
Like the families go home, and then it gets scary.
But they do have some, and depending on the year, even all houses open during the day as well.
They do. So, yes.
And of course, the family-friendly Halloween time events, Universal Studios Japan will have minions and other characters available to meet. There will also be trick-or-treating available for guests as well, excluding Wizarding World of Harry Potter and Super Nintendo World.
Okay.
There's a lot of specialty foods. I just want to name a couple. This disgusting looking Franken hot dog, bacon and basil cheese sauce is a bolt shaped and scratched motif, green body. Enjoy Halloween with a hot dog inspired by Frankenstein. It's a green bun with what looks like rotten guacamole on top of the hot dog. And it has like an actual like bolt, like a nut coming out of it.
Oh, that's cute. Oh, that's fun.
Sure, but I'm not putting it in my mouth. I mean, yes, I would. That's a lie. I'll put.
Are we gonna have someone?
All right,
all
never
this
mind.
over
Moving on.
Are we gonna have someone ship all this over us so we can do another tasting episode and have our good friend Brian come on the show?
If it looks this bad now, I don't want to know what it looks like after being shipped across the world. To be honest. But also they have the Chucky Coke float. Hey, look, he randomly appears all over the world.
The Chucky.
They love Chucky float over there. They do. Japan loves Chucky
because he's kawaii.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah.
It's just like a normal Coke float, but it has berry sauce in it. I guess to represent blood. And it has ice cream. You know, of course, ice cream and Coke, and then the berry sauce. And then some minion shit that's cute, and but that's about all we need to get into for it.
Yeah, that took much longer than I think we wanted it to.
Hey, it's all right. I mean, we've never really had the opportunity to talk about Japan at all since we've created this podcast. They deserved a little time.
Yeah, absolutely. And hopefully one of these days we'll do a whole show on kind of that event and how it works.
Definitely. Oh, I'm excited for that one. I'm excited.
All right. Now back to Orlando. We got some things going on. So a lot of stuff going on in the scare zones. We'll try to keep this pretty short because it just evolves every day, and this will be outdated by the time we release it tomorrow. But the big thing we're seeing right now is a lot of themed food booths. We're seeing themed to Haunting of Hill House, to Texas Chainsaw Massacre, every IP basically. One now that looks like it's themed to Wicked Growth. So it looks like they're actually theming everything. Food booth wise to something around the park, which is kind of something we talked about for several episodes that we thought could happen. Something like that, expanded food options, made more immersive style food options, and it looks like we're definitely getting that.
Yeah, it's popping up.
Speaking of popping up, I made the joke earlier about how Chucky pops up all over the world out of nowhere. Well, he did it here too. There was a Good Guy doll box that kind of popped up on the bridge between London and Simpsons, and people kind of thought maybe, we'll get like a little Chucky show again. It's come out since that it looks like it's going to be a photo op because there is like a curtained off door on the side, and it says like this paraphrasing, but it says like please close curtain after stepping in or something. Okay, like that. So it's a photo op. It's an Instagram
spot. Okay,
yeah.
That's cute. No, that's fun.
Which in that spot, I mean, that makes
the box on that one. No pun
intended. I just don't. If they put Chucky there, that would have been wild. Like that area would be so crazy. So photo op makes a lot more sense. I mean, scare zones, man. Like everything's coming up. I don't even know. We'd have to dedicate so much time to tell you everything that's happening. It's basically what we have already seen, but them expanding on it. I'll put it that way. Go on Twitter, you'll see all the pictures, Instagram, check out the park if you can. It's really starting to feel like HHN out there.
Yeah, and I feel like we're in the territory where like if we talked about too much, we're kind of spoiling the event for some people, and we'd have to put spoiler warnings. I think a lot of times, like around this time, up until like opening day, people kind of sometimes go a little bit radio silent because there is stuff coming out so much, and we want us people to listen to us and get excited for the event, and so I would say we're just gonna still talk about things, but I don't think we're gonna nitpick over every little thing the way we normally do from this point until the event starts.
And if we do, we'll probably give you a little warning just so you could tune us out for a minute or so. But not happening tonight. Well, maybe it will, but we'll see. I think it's time for us to go into our main segment.
Yeah, let's do it. So I think for the first time, get to put out a proper official hype list for HHN30. Duff, this has been in the making for how many months?
Well, I mean, so hype lists are something that it's like a staple if you're an HHN content creator. You got to drop the hype list. It's one of the most exciting episodes. People are waiting for it, and we haven't had the chance in our history to do this yet because unless we want to do it for HHN Light and rank two houses against each other, like what they announced 3 days before they opened. Well, we ranked them after we did it, I think. We didn't do a hype list. Right. But it's so this is a big episode for us. We're excited to finally get to do it. I'm excited to have a hype list that I'm doing more than putting out on Twitter and that I can actually discuss here with you guys. So I'm excited.
Yeah. Well, let's hop to it. We are going to have separate lists for shows, scare zones, and houses, and we're just going to rank them, just kind of go around fairly rapid fire because we don't want to be here forever. We can each talk a little bit why it ended up at this spot, but I don't want it to necessarily turn into a 10-minute conversation about each one.
You do know every time you say that we end up doing exactly what you don't want us to, right?
I know. Okay. It's
just making sure you know.
But let's do it. Let's start with who wants to go first on zones? Shows. And how do we on this one? I think we should probably just not go around and be like my 10th one or my this one. I think would just do it all at once.
You think so?
Yeah, because if you come out with the second one, we obviously know what the first one is going to be.
Oh, you mean just for shows? Okay,
just for shows. Yeah.
Well, I was going to say, how about this? We all have the same ones. I'll just say it for all of us. Halloween Nightmare Fuel is second of two.
Hell yeah.
For all of us. And Marathon of Mayhem Carnage Factory is number one.
Yeah, this one's pretty straightforward. If
you didn't listen to last week's episode, that has all the answers for you. So go check
I do have
it
to
out,
say
guys.
I'm getting a little bit more excited for Halloween Nightmare Fuel just because I think there's potential for it to be.
There was someone who found one of the performers posted that they will be in the show, and it was like a fire dancer.
That's cool.
The image looked kind of cool. So I think there are going to be fun aspects and really good performers in the show. I think when you're just comparing the two, one is the sequel to the greatest theme park show ever made, as well, maybe 2 or 3 of us would say on the show. I don't know. But it was a very, very, very good show, and its sequel is here. And I'm going to take that over the stage show that has performers, and we don't really know anything else about it.
Yeah. Yep. I don't think I can really add much to it, Duff. I think he hit the nail on the head. If you've listened to the show, you kind of know how excited we were that there was even an inkling that Marathon of Mayhem would be returning in some capacity, and that is maybe one of my most things that I'm most excited about for the event in the whole. So yes.
Too bad we're not doing that hype list. Sorry.
We are doing that hype list, but
what?
I think, we're not going to do that hype list, right?
No. I thought you were saying, shoo, you scared me. I was like, I don't have that list. Come on.
No. Oh, no.
All right. Let's go to scare zones.
That would have been a fun way to do it, though. I have to say.
I mean, I think
I like
no,
this
it's too. It would just been houses then. So anyway,
yeah, it would have turned into that anyway, basically, with the Marathon of Mayhem being very near the top.
Nico, would you like to kick us off for zones?
For zones, yeah.
Number 5.
Number 5 out of all of these. Probably just for me, 30 Years, 30 Fears, just because I don't have that much connection to the event.
That's okay. Really quick, I didn't think you'd go that angle because you're a guy who likes lore and history. So I thought you'd be excited to finally experience.
Yeah, it'll be cool to see that stuff, but like that's not really just like what I'm looking. Like it'd be cool to see that stuff. So that's really the one that's lowest on there. I mean, it's to be honest with you, 30 Years, 30 Fears, and Crypt TV are kind of tied for me at the bottom.
So okay,
that's for fair. Those two, to be honest. Well, kind of like that.
I'm willing to bet. I would put money on it that Mike and I share the number 5.
Yeah, probably. Crypt TV.
Crypt TV.
Yeah.
And I mean, that's not to say I have no excitement for it. I think I've talked about how the monsters could be utilized really well.
Yeah.
It's just kind of when I look at it, the stages look good, but it kind of feels like it's just going to be you're to this set, you're to that set, you're this set, you're to that set, which can be fun. It can be enjoyable, and it could end up higher on my list. But just as far as having me hyped to see it compared to the others and what's looking like such a strong year for scare zones, it's at the bottom.
Yeah, and I agree, Duff. One thing I'd like to add is that this zone in general, I think, just in general, I don't spend a lot of time in it. It gets very claustrophobic and it gets very tight, and it really has to be a really standout zone for me to really want to spend a lot of time in San Francisco scare zone anyway. And so when Crypt TV announced, it just didn't quite, I think, get me excited. I am excited to familiarize myself with some of these characters before we go into the zone. I think that will make it more exciting to me. So this might be one of those things where, like, right before the event, this might change just because I have not had the chance to familiarize myself. But who knows? This might right before the event might turn into being higher up on the list. But right now, with the knowledge that I have and the concerns I have for how this zones might go, unfortunately, it ends up number 5.
That's fair. So, Nico, I'm assuming Crypt TV is your 4 from what you just told us previously.
Yeah, pretty much. Right. We don't really have to go much deeper than that.
Mike, your 4?
My number 4 is this might shock some people. This is a lights, camera, action. Eddie's Revenge.
Oh, me too.
Yes.
I thought mine was going to be shocking to you, but you did the same thing.
Yeah. No. Yeah. So.
Okay.
I am excited to kind of see what they do with it, but I'm definitely excited to see it. I think I'm excited to see everything at this event.
Yeah.
But when it comes to ranking excitement, I think this kind of falls at 4, just because this scare zone all has a lot to live up to. I think some of my favorite scare zones, when thinking back at the event, is in this area, and I'm a little worried that based on some of the things that we're hearing, it might not quite live up to the expectation that I put on this zone, and that's probably not fair to it, but that's kind of how it is.
I think if this was a curiosity list, this would be number 1 for scare zones for me. However, it's not purely about hype. I think if it's done well, this could be an amazing zone. I have concerns. I do. If you know me, you would think this is perfect for me. It's calling back actually a direct sequel by name to a little remembered zone from over a decade ago now. It's tossing in an icon. It's tossing in some of my favorite scare zones, and yet that's what scares me. It's a lot going on. If you just go back to the original Lights, Cameras, Action, it's just that aspect. It was the Chainsaw Drill team making a movie. They're on the set. Things go crazy. But you're also tossing in now an icon and making it like a zone mashup. That's just a lot. It really is a lot. It sounds like it could be really silly, and maybe not in the good way.
Yeah,
Good point.
I agree with all that.
So I think this is one that's either going to be really high at the end of the year for me or really low.
Same. Yeah. All right. Should we move on to Nico, your number 3?
Yeah. Lights, camera, action.
Okay, there you go.
Pretty much. To be really honest, it really isn't much higher than Crypt or 30 Years and 30 Fears. For what I'm looking forward to. I mean, it's gonna be cool to see them and stuff. It's just that I'm just not looking forward to those 3 as much as I am my top 2. So, and pretty much I like I said, I have no connection to it whatsoever. I don't know, looks kind of cheap, so not really looking forward to that. The kind of stuff along there. I don't think that's just kind of what I think about that one, but that's just I don't really have much more to say about it.
Yeah.
So.
That's fair.
Before I move on, I would quickly like to say, unlike Crypt TV, I do think there is potential for this one to end up as my favorite zone. It's there. The potential is there. I think there's it's just like Duff said. There's almost too much on this that it could muddle the waters a little bit. But everything is there for this to be my favorite zone. So we'll see.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. What'd you put at 3 though?
I had number 3. I have 30 Years, 30 Fears.
We have the same exact list, don't we?
Probably. No, okay. I don't know.
Well, we're only 2 away now.
The next 2 are the ones where it really could go either way.
Yeah, I gotta say,
I don't.
This ranking for me was 1 and 2, and then a huge gap, and then 3 through 5.
Yeah. Now, the reason why I went with 30 Years, 30 Fears over Lights, Camera, Action is that some of the stuff that we're seeing going in there with the levels and the sets, and this is already starting to seem like a really, really, really cool zone. Unlike Lights, Camera, Action, where we've starting to see some of the stuff, and it seems interesting. This is starting to, or what we're seeing built already, is starting to really scratch that itch of like, oh man, this could be one of the best kind of anniversary year scare zones we've seen ever. Like this is looking really cool.
I think for me, typically Production Central zones end up kind of at the bottom of hype and kind of my final ranking typically. And I think it's tough to put it higher just because of the space it's in, but the sets that they have out there, I'm just picturing myself walking through the gates for a night where I'm coming in late. It's already like 9 p.m. It's pitch black. Got that neon light Halloween Horror Night sign. You got some flames maybe kicking, that's like, it gives you that real old school Horror Nights feel. And you get to see the icons, and from the way they worded it, maybe even more than the icons will be in there. We'll see. But either way, you get to go back and visit HHN history, but also it gives you that atmosphere as well to match it. So I think kind of somewhere in the middle here, just because of its location, is perfect for it. Number 3.
Right. Yeah, I'm on the record for Anarcade being my favorite scare zone ultimately when everything shook out 2019. And the reason why it is because it, like Duff, you said, Duff, it was one of those things that before you even got into the gate, you could see it out there, and it just set the tone immediately, and the music was playing, and it just puts you're like, holy shit, here I am, I'm at Halloween Horror Nights. Look how awesome they did with the theming of this year. I think with 30 Years, 30 Fears, they were able to harness and bottle that same type of energy with this one. I think, at least from what we're seeing here on the sets, and we don't normally get that done as well as I think we got in 2019 and this year. I think that's something I think the last couple of years is really makes the event better for me, and they utilized it pretty well last year, and I think it's looking, or in 2019, and it's looking like this year they have also kind of caught on to that.
Yeah, no, I think it's gonna, like you said, set the tone perfectly.
Yes.
And I think that is the number one factor for me. just that exact image in my head of what it could look like puts it so high. At least for that, so high for that location. So I guess we all have the same top two. Let's figure out if we have them in the same order. Nico, what you got at 2?
Coming in at number 2 on our Scare Zone Hypeless Countdown is Seek and Destroy.
Oh, okay. All right.
Someone caught the Terra Corentis hype from us.
Yeah, pretty
Which
much.
we'll talk about in a little bit.
So Seek and Destroy definitely is, I think, head and shoulders above the other two. Y'all brought me around on 30 Years, 30 Fears. That's now my number 3. I'll go ahead and adjust that. Y'all brought me around on that.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you know what? Yeah, you guys are right. So Seek and Destroy, though, looks like it's pretty cool. I like the set dressings and how it kind of just continues around. Interested to see like what this controller is about, and I think this area looks like they're just going to do a really good job with it, and the prompts that we've already seen out there, and with the tribute store being right there with it too, I think that's all going to tie together, and that's all going to look good.
Yeah. So for me, it came down to at 1 and 2. Am I going to go with my personal hype at number 1, or am I going to go with honestly what looks like Scare Zone of the Year when you look at it and hear what it's about? Like, it just feels like Scare Zone of the Year. Well, I put that one at number 2. So Seek and Destroy number 2 for me. Pretty much like Nico said, the sets look phenomenal. So much detail. It's got the scale to it. It just looks so impressive already. And it has for like a month now, which is insane. In the not blog post, like the blurb they put out with it when they announced it, even more hype built. So this was kind of one that I really did want to put at number 1, because like I said, this just feels like it's Scare Zone of the Year. It just kind of feels that way. My personal hype kind of stopped that from happening, but I think in such a tough year, like for Scare Zones, like they all could very well be great. Getting number 2 is pretty solid for Seek and Destroy on my hype list, I'd say.
Okay, well, for my number 2, I chose Gorewood Forest. Now, hear me out on this one. I am on the record for being a Terra Queen stan. I am very, very, very excited for this zone. I'm super looking forward to it. But I will say that I think Central Park definitely fits the feel, but I do think it might slightly be a detriment of just how small that Central Park walkway is, about how much I'd really like to just hang out in this zone and soak it all in every night, because it is going to get a little cramped. Now, if it, like we suspect, it bleeds out into kind of that esoteric gate Mel's area, and it's kind of, we see that there is terrorist queen stuff going on all in that area. Now there, I think, is much more open, and if there's a show going on in that area, that could really make it one of those zones that at the end of the year, that's where I've spent most of my time. Now, if it doesn't, and it's just like, the Vikings Undead kind of shows inside the little closed off fancy kind of grassy areas, I will stay there and watch them a couple of times, but I don't know necessarily if you're gonna find me in there all the time, just kind of hanging out and watching those shows.
Oh, I think that's a very fair point. It could get very crammed, and it could get very tough to. I mean, we talked about it for Crypt TV in San Francisco. It could be just tough to hang out and check things out for a long period of time just because of its location. So obviously it did end up at my number 1. And it really just all comes from this is a 16-year-old dream come true for me. I just missed out on Terra Queen and Terra Quentis, and it was something that I've always regretted because I was so close to making it happen and I just didn't. So it's finally coming true. So I mean, really, that's all it comes down. I could say nice things about the zone and the sets that are coming along, but I don't need to because it's number 1 for that reason.
Yeah. Absolutely. Well, then Nico, I guess assuming that this is also your
I
number one as well.
Yeah, and I think I have it as number one for the reason why you have it as number two is because of the crampedness to it. These sets, and maybe it's because just how small that walkway is, and just how big these sets are. I feel like this will be closer to like the feeling of a house, like it's a little mini house going through.
That is true.
Kind of like
Yeah.
how Vikings Undead went last year.
It will be
Which-
very scary for sure. This zone is going to be very, very scary.
Yeah, and I think Vikings Undead was my favorite from actually no, what was the one the arcade thingy in the front? Sorry.
And arcade.
And arcade.
Okay.
That and like Vikings Undead and Arcade were like kind of tied for me because I did kind of like how tight they were going through, and that's why this is here. And just the beautiful set, especially the one that's right there next to Cafe La Bamba as you're walking in. Across from the crepe stand, like I really liked that piece right there. So I think that's kind of what sealed the deal for me. And I have no connection to the Terror Queen whatsoever, and I'm excited for this zone the most.
So I do have to disclose that I have not seen any of this recent work in this zone, and it did not play a factor into my hype list. So I haven't.
Nice.
I know you guys have been in the park recently. I have not seen it in pictures or in person. Some of this recent work. But what I have seen leading into my number one, I have seen the work that is going in to my number one hyped, and that is Seek and Destroy. The stuff that they are putting into that zone looks like it's going to build a world that I am so excited to see and what stories that can come out of this. The stories that they're able to build in scare zones for me are sometimes my favorite. And I don't know if that's just because of how open-ended the stories can be, unlike the houses where it's like telling, it's from a beginning to an end. But with the zones, you can have they're much more open-ended. You have a theme and a story, but then it can kind of evolve throughout the night, and it can evolve depending on what characters are out there. The story can really be built by the characters and the acting, and I think that's what Braswell really brought to the table, because he comes from that theatrical theater background when he's designing these scare zones. And I think this one in particular, I'm really excited on what show they're going to put on for us each night, telling this story. I'm very, very excited.
The way you're saying that too, it reminds me of a great scare zone in that location, Acid Assault. Aesthetically, not the same at all, but what you were describing and what it can do, very similar to the way Acid Assault did, I think would be phenomenal. And let's be honest here. If you heard what I said when I was talking about it, I said it looks like it's Scare Zone of the Year. So if we are looking at this objectively, this would be my number one. I would predict it to be my favorite. It's only my bias that gets in the way of that, which is fine. That's part of the event, right? People are drawn to certain properties or IPs or whatever it may be. But looking at it objectively, yeah, this zone, it's just I cannot wait for Seek and Destroy as well.
I'm so excited. This I think the only thing that would maybe put this zone, and then who knows, we haven't heard anything, but if they start doing like the spectro mapping on the buildings and stuff, like Acid Assault did, holy crap, like that would be really cool.
Yeah.
Like the buildings are starting to crumble in front of you and stuff. That'd be really cool.
So that's our Scare Zone hype list. I gotta say, I thought, Nico, you were gonna go Seek and Destroy at one. You caught me off guard there.
Yeah, I like to keep you all on your toes.
All right. So I before we get to the houses, I want to throw out a disclaimer real quick. We are not ranking. We've said this multiple times, but before we get to houses, it's where it's really important. We are not ranking what we think will be the best houses. We are ranking what we are the most anticipating to see.
Most
So
exciting
very
at this
different.
moment.
Yeah,
Right.
very different. It doesn't mean that we think something at the bottom is not going to be great. There could be other
Yes.
motives. You know what we're talking about. HHN Light happened. We
Yeah.
saw these houses. For us, I believe all three of us personally, that's going to affect all three of those houses. So
Mhm.
that's not saying we don't think they're going to finish near the top specifically. It's just we aren't going to be as excited to see them because there are 7 other houses we've never experienced. So we just want to throw it out there. That's all. And I do want to say, Nico, this is probably your first ever hype list you've made. How does it feel?
I feel pretty hyped about it.
Hey.
To be honest, there you go.
Hey. All right.
Cool.
Let's get into it then.
All right, who's kicking us off? How about
you want-
Nico? You go first. That's how we've been doing it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
sure. Tooth Fairy. All right.
Shocker.
Okay.
Yeah.
Didn't see that coming.
I really, I'll be cool to see it again. The rumors of plexiglass doesn't really bode well to have this house move. But yeah, we'll see. Maybe we'll be pleasantly surprised. But yep, least hyped just because I've already experienced it and was my least favorite of the 3.
Fair. Mike, you want to go next?
Sure. I am actually. How about you go next,
Oh, sure,
Duff? Because
sure.
I think mine is might not be what you're expecting.
Oh, okay. Well, my 10 is actually Beetlejuice.
Okay.
I know a lot of people would argue that Beetlejuice probably has the most additions necessary from HHN Light, and I'd agree. It probably is going to be the most different from the 3 houses we saw at HHN Light.
Mhm.
However, it would be the least changed for me. I think the big thing about that house is the atmosphere. It's not going to be what you get out of the boo holes or anything. It's going to be the atmosphere, and I think that's already nailed down pretty heavily. It's also very Ghostbusters to me in style. I already thought it was a better house than Ghostbusters, to be honest, from what I saw of it. But that's not my personal style that I'm going for. So it just kind of ends up at 10 for those reasons.
Fair enough. I will speak to that when it comes up on my list. I chose number 10. I chose, and hear me out. I chose Universal Monsters: The Bride of Frankenstein for number 10. Now, before you you hop in your car and drive to my house, the reason why I chose this is purely from the fact that, like Duff said, this is what we are most excited about seeing. Now, I suspect that of all these ones here, that I have Universal Monsters: The Bride of Frankenstein is going to be the most similar to it was already operating at a very high level, and it is a very great house, and I suspect that it will still be a very great house, and we're operating at a very high level. But and that's why I'm not necessarily excited to see it, because it's gonna be the most similar to what we've already seen before. With or without plexiglass, I'm not necessarily going to get into that. But I think this, I know what we're going to see here, and I know it's going to be great. But that's, it's hard for me to put it above things that I have not seen yet.
Well, Mike, I actually completely agree with you in the sense that this is probably the most complete of the HHN Light houses that we saw. It'll have the least change. However, I'll just say this now. Get it out of the way. It's my number 9. So while I think Beetlejuice will have more changes, Bride was just so damn good. I'm more excited to see it than a completely revamped Beetlejuice, to be honest. It was a phenomenal house, and to be honest, it'll probably be in my top 3 at the end of the event. But I already know I love it. I already know that, and I'm excited to return. But I already know what I'm going to see, and I already know that I'm going to enjoy going through it. So, number 9.
Yep. All right. Well, my number 9 is Revenge of the Tooth Fairy, and it's pretty much for the basically the same reasons that we've kind of already stated. I see a lot of potential for this house. Even I think even if they were to keep the plexiglass and then just maybe change up how some of the scares are operated, I think this house could be really, really, really good. And I am excited to see how this turns out this year, having as last year as almost like a dress rehearsal. And I think this house has a lot of potential just kind of based on of that.
Mhm.
That is what it is. My number 9 over Universal is that I'm excited to see the potential here.
Fair. Nico, what's your number 9?
Oh, my number 9, I would have to say, is probably Beetlejuice. As much as I really
I
liked
didn't
the
expect
house,
that.
yeah, I kind of just rethought my list a couple of times because, like, where do I put the HHN lighthouses and where do I put these? And yeah, Beetlejuice, I'm really excited to see it again. Excited to see what they can do with it. But once again, I've seen it, and like I'm excited to see the improvements that they can make, because we saw, they're pretty much we're running at maybe half of probably the amount of people that they planned on having in there. At least that's just how it felt. It felt just very empty. So I am looking forward to it being better this year. But yeah, it's like what stuff I haven't seen, like that we'll kind of be talking about later in here. But yeah, I was thinking about putting Beetlejuice up a little bit higher, but I'm like, you know what? No, I think 9 is fair enough to that and fair to the other houses that we kind of don't know what's going on.
That's fair.
Fair enough.
So
Yeah.
I'll go to my number 8 then, and that's going to be rounding out HHN Lighthouses, Tooth Fairy.
Okay.
Now, the reason that finished the highest of those 3, even though I think that Bride will be better, and I did like it better last year, is because I think Tooth Fairy has the most to change. Not the most as in there will be more scare actors like Beetlejuice. I think they have a lot more to flesh out with Beetlejuice, but I think the whole atmosphere of the house is going to change in Tooth Fairy, assuming that we get the full run of the house. That's because 1, it looked like you're missing big scares, and 2, it was supposed to be a super claustrophobic house, and those scares couldn't get to you with the restrictions that were there. So I think once this gets fully unleashed, that it's going to jump up to a whole new level, and almost like seeing a whole new house, really. Obviously, the scenes are the same. The character designs will probably be the same, but I think the atmosphere will be so much different that it's enough to push it ahead of the other 2 lighthouses for me.
Sure. Absolutely. I will go next. My number 8. This might be a bit of controversial and a bit of a shocker, but my number 8 is I'm actually going to go with the Texas Chainsaw Massacre here. Now, the reason why this is that I am excited for this house, and I think it's going to be a good house. But when I close my eyes and I kind of picture what this house is going to look like I might be totally wrong, but I have a very pretty clear picture of what this house is going to be. And that is mostly because it is the most traditional of the IPs of like a traditional IP house. It is the most traditional IP we have on here. And I think it's going to probably, for the most part, now I could be totally wrong. They could, do something different here, and do a little bit of a mashup of a couple of different, movies, or kind of tell their own story a little bit. But I suspect that it's going to be more of a traditional, go through the scenes of the movie type of house here, and because of that, I could kind of know what to expect, and it falls at number 8.
Well, let me just slide in here to tell you it's my number 7. and I honestly believe this can be a sleeper hit. Like, I think it really has the potential to be.
Oh,
so.
for sure.
However, pretty much for the same reasons you said. I've seen Leatherface. I've seen this exact version of the movie, the '74 film. They both been done. Not as frequently as others, but when I'm looking at what's at the rest of the list, it's things I either have not seen or I'm very excited to see again. So, it's just kind of, it falls to 7 because it's a really strong lineup this year. And I think it's really going to be like an enhanced version of what we saw at 26. I think getting this inside of a soundstage, it's a recipe for success. But looking at just hype, I think the IP, not that I don't enjoy Leatherface, but that IP kind of drops it down just for things that I prefer ahead of it.
Yeah, no, yeah, I think we're on the same page there. Nico, what is your number 8?
My number 8.
Duff's already done his number 7.
Yeah, Duff just did it. Yeah, because it led into there. No,
I
that's
figured
fine.
it's better that way. I won't go too far with that, but if it's just the next one, I'll do it.
Yeah.
My number 7,
No, your number. Yeah, I haven't even done.
Oh,
your
my number 8.
yet.
That's right. My number 8 looks like it's going to be, Haunting of Hill House. To be honest with you.
Oh,
wow. Well,
once again, I have no connection to the IP. I've been trying to find time to watch it, and it just,
it happened.
I really just haven't had time to watch Haunting of Hill House.
You're a busy man.
I'm a busy man. So, I just don't have any connection to the IP. People seem like they're pretty cool about it, and I'm just kind of riding on their coattails with that. I did have like other houses that I thought I would have below this, but I think I have them up higher just because of the sheer curiosity to it. And to go into my number 7, it's the same as Texas Chainsaw Massacre is also my 7.
There we go.
So we'll just put those two right there. They're actually pretty much even, to be honest. For me, those two houses. So because like you said, I mean, I have some connection to it. It's gonna be cool to hear the chainsaws with that, but once again, I don't have the strongest connection to that IP, so I may not be looking as forward to it as some other folks are.
Fair. It's fair.
My number 7 is Beetlejuice. Now, the reason why Beetlejuice jumped chains Texas is that when I think about HHN Light, I think about one of the main. I have a lot of really great memories, but one of my main memories is just how big of a smile I had on my face walking through this house. The one time that we got to, Nico and I got to experience it. Duff was very fortunate to experience this house. Half a dozen times or more.
No, it wasn't that many, but
it was what, 5 or 6 times?
I think it was 4.
Okay. I know some people got to experience it like quite a bit.
Yes.
I think the most I heard was like 14 times in a 2-day period. But yeah, so he got to experience it quite a bit. Nico and I only got to experience it once, and I think part of it was the fact that we thought that we weren't going to get to experience it, and then it just kind of all came together, and we got to experience it. And then Duff, you are right. There was a lot of things there that I think are characters that needed to be added and things that's going to make this run smoothly. But I do disagree with that. I think that adding those people, adding those characters, that really breathes life, at least for me, breathes life into a house. And I am really excited to what life is going to be built in to, especially some of those fun kind of I'm trying not to be too spoiler here because I know a lot of people really avoided Beetlejuice spoilers, but I feel like there's some really fun scenes here that once we get the characters in them, could potentially be my favorite house to walk through.
I think that's fair. That's fair. So I guess I'll go into my number 6 now. I'm just gonna get this out of the way now because this is gonna be the case for like basically every house except number 1. This would probably be higher any other year. This is a strong lineup. I'd just like to say. My number 6 is Puppet Theater. Now, I think the big thing for me is, unlike a lot of HHN fans, it seems, I'm not a theater guy at all. It's not my thing, and that's not a prerequisite to enjoy this house, I'm sure. But I think when you have that personal connection, it helps a lot. And I know the troupe is named after like some famous songwriter for shows or something. I didn't know that, and I don't even remember the name now. It just doesn't connect with me on a deep level. I will say we've got Peaks of the Facade, looks phenomenal. If you watch that like 8-minute video they posted, it looks phenomenal. I think it could be a really good house. I think it could be a very scary house. It's just that connection that's missing for me that puts it at 6.
Oh yeah. Nico, do you want to go first?
Yeah, pretty much. Puppet Theater's right there for me too.
Yeah.
At that
Oh,
number.
me too. Me too. It
Oh,
is.
really?
Yeah,
it is
pretty
also
much.
here. Yeah. It's also,
Yeah.
I think it's all of our 6. Now, I will say that this one really has moved around for me so much.
Mhm.
I think at some points I had it as high as like 1 or 2. And then, it I think it has slowly kind of fallen to 6. I will say that I did try to avoid a lot of. I don't think I only watched a couple of seconds of that of 8-minute thing, and I'm like, oh, I'm spoiling myself. I don't want to necessarily watch all the rest of this, and I stopped, so I didn't see the whole thing, and I haven't looked at the facade pictures too much. So but I'm very excited about this, but I'm a little concerned about it too, and I think I go back and forth between really excitement and then it maybe not necessarily getting pulled off, and it's not, it could, be lower in the middle road for me. So I'm very nervous. I really want to like it, but I'm also kind of scared, which makes it the excitement a little down on me too. So this one's kind of one of those, like, I really want to like it so much that I'm almost afraid to get too excited. If that makes sense. Like,
Yeah,
I really
that.
want to like this.
Yeah.
It's like being an Orlando City fan.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Nico.
Yeah, just Puppet Theater. I mean, it looks interesting. It looks more interesting than
What was
Haunting
that?
of Hill House and Chainsaw Massacre. So
Oh,
yeah, so it's just one of those things. I'm excited to see like how they are gonna pull that off. More than they are like Haunting of Hill House and Chainsaw.
Mhm.
But it's at the end of the day, it's like, how good can this house be?
I think it could be really good.
What we've seen, yeah, I understand, but I feel like there's more of a ceiling on this house than there is on probably the rest on the list, at least in my opinion for that. So yeah, that's why it kind of just settles in there, at least for hype list. Who knows, maybe this will turn out to be really fun, and this is a house that we all enjoy, and we'll be like making puppet theater jokes for the rest of the time. But
It'll be a 365 bingo moving forward. Maybe.
Yeah, it might be that moving forward, where we'll just like say some random line from the house. It very well could be that. It could very well be set up for that. It's just that there are other houses that I'm much more looking forward to going to.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That.
Yeah, no, I'm excited for this one, but I'm also nervous about it, and I think that's the same way I was with Depths of Fear, and I feel like it kind of sits at that same place where it could be really good, and it could be inconsistent as well throughout the event, and but I'm hoping that it ends up very high on my list. I'm very
definitely. So now we're getting the top half. That was our bottom half, and we're getting to number 5 now. So who wants to kick us off at 5?
I'll do it. I'm gonna go ahead and just say Welcome to Scary Horror in the Heartland.
All right.
Okay.
Yeah, it seems like everybody likes Scary Ohio, and from what I've heard people talk about it, it seems like it's gonna be good. And I'm like, oh yeah, this is something I could definitely look forward to going through. Don't I mean the only thing is like it looks like it has a lot more thought behind it because it looks like it's going to have a lot more fan service, and it might be a house that a lot of people will enjoy. So I think that's why it's just higher up on the list for me. I like I said, I have no connection to Cary, Ohio beyond Graveyard Games, right? I'm doing that right? There was a connection to right?
No,
Absolutely.
No,
not.
no, they
that
weren't
was in
connected.
Louisiana. No.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I just
No.
remember seeing something about Cary, Ohio. From last
No.
year. I don't know. See, like, and like that's why I didn't go in with full confidence. I know better than to do that anymore on this podcast. Run into something with full confidence.
Hey, Twitter loves when you do it.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I know. I'm probably gonna get raked over for this one too.
Oh yeah.
But Scary, yeah. I guess it's something I'm looking forward to more than Puppet Theater and the rest of the things I've said.
Hey, no, listen, you don't need a reason to be excited for something. We just talk about it for fun. Mike, you want to go with your 5?
Sure. My 5 is HHN icons captured.
Wow.
Yeah, I think we're at the list here.
Wow.
We're in the point where it's just like nitpicking at this point. I'm excited for literally all 10 of these houses, but for the top, I think 7 on, I'm really excited for all of these. I think the reason why icons falls here is that I can't even say anything negative about it. I think it's just I'm very excited for it. I think we know that what the characters are going to be. I think that that's what would be the thing that's slided is that I know. Okay, you know I know the scary characters. I know who's going to be popping out at me for the most part. So, but I am also very excited to see the story they tell with them, and it sounds like it's very story driven. So I'm very excited. But it's 5. I can't say anything negative. I'm excited.
Okay, that's fair. I will say icons is it seems to be, from what we see on social media, like the consensus number 1 for the community. So having it at 5,
I have a different one.
You might get burned.
Well,
that's all right.
I will hopefully explain why I'm excited for these others more that I don't. It has nothing, honestly, about like icons. It's just these others.
No, I get that. Trust me, I get that. And that's, I mean, to be honest, my 5 has been number 4 and number 3 today. And at this very moment, I kind of don't want to put it at 5, but I think I'm going to settle with it. And that's Haunting of Hill House.
Okay.
Right. I'm very excited for it. It's a property that I really enjoyed. I've watched it multiple times now. And it captures my attention every time. It's latches onto your emotions. It has decent scares in it. And then looking at the house itself, we've seen some pictures. The facade, oh my God, it just looks absolutely phenomenal. And I just think the sets they can put in this thing and the scares they can put in with the hidden ghosts.
Oh, yeah.
And even just some of the scenes that are in the show that are straight up there. Man, I think this could really knock it out of the park. I think, well, actually, it's my second highest. No, I'm sorry. It's my highest rated IP on my hype list. I think it'll probably be in a battle with Bride for my favorite IP of the year. But I'm very excited for it. So I don't know what else to say. And that's talking about my number 5 house. So like you, Mike, I'm very excited. It's kind of sad this has to fall to 5, but it's where it is.
Yeah. Nico, did you already do your 5 or are we on to 4s?
Let me see.
Yeah, you kicked off 5, I believe.
Yeah,
right?
I started 5 with Cary, yeah.
Okay. Well, I will go next because it leads into what you just said, Duff. My number 4 is The Haunting of Hill House. This is by far the most excited IP I think in a while. I'm thinking back of some of these IPs that they've listed. You know, I'm trying to think if there was something at 2019 that I was more excited about than Hill House. I can't think of it.
Talking to you, probably not. I know you're really hyped.
I'm very excited for this, and I think if it weren't for some of the things that got released at its announcement, I would have this probably at number 1 or 2. At some points I had this at number 1. I think we got to see the facade and we got to see some of the story, and try to build the excitement. And I think for me, that I think it slightly just brought it down just a little bit, not in a negative way, just because it just kind of revealed some of the things. Because a lot of the excited is about how this was going to be pulled off.
I mean,
and what it was going to look like.
Listen,
and
I wish I didn't see the facade. It just kind of happened, unfortunately.
I know.
With the release.
It's one of those. Honestly, I think I love doing this podcast. It's amazing. I enjoy it. I think though, if I had to pick one negative, it is that we are so deep into the spoilers and the things. I was never that type of person who went to Halloween Nights. I didn't like to see leaked photos, and I still try to avoid them. I was one of those people who'd like to try to go in as blind as possible into the first night event and just be wowed. Unfortunately, we talk about this event weekly, so that is not something that I can do anymore. So but when there was nothing out there and it was just as a rumored house, Hill House was near the top. Since we've gotten some more things revealed about it, it has dropped down, but it's still, the potential is here for being probably end up being one of my favorite. It could be.
Yeah, no, I think, feelings are exactly the same there.
I also expect it to be probably the scariest house on the list. I think it could be, which is interesting because the show was not necessarily as scary as I thought it was going to be. But I think I really, really like traditional scary haunted houses, or like scary haunts in general, which is what I think why I really liked Graveyard Games. It was a scary graveyard, but done so well with so much, special effects and storytelling and, world building. I think that this will also, they'll be able to take the story and from the film and also just put that in to this traditional scary haunted house, and I think it could really turn out to be the scariest of them on the list here.
Okay, I'm not going to disagree with your reasoning. I don't agree that will be the scariest, but hey, we'll see.
It could be. I didn't say it will be.
No, I know. No,
has potential to be.
It could be. Yeah,
we'll see soon.
What do you think? Do you think, just because we're talking about it, I don't necessarily want to come back to it. What do you think that has the potential to be the scariest?
I think for me, you have Wicked Growth up there, and I also think Puppet Theater.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah, see, I worry that Puppet Theater could be really scary, or it could just miss the mark and not be.
I think Chainsaw could be the scariest.
I mean, honestly, that is possible. That's very possible too.
Yeah. I think Chainsaw will be the scariest for Nico. I'm throwing a prediction out here. The way that I saw that he ran out of House of
Corpses,
1,000 Corpses.
That's why
I think I think Texas Chainsaw will be the scariest for Nico for sure.
Yeah, okay.
That's very fair.
Putting the money on that.
So my number 4 is Welcome to Scary.
Okay.
It was very close to ending up at 5 for me. I'll be honest, but I think it nudged ahead just because I seeing some of these properties again is going to be so exciting for me. I'd say what keeps it lower though, you would think, because I'm so invested in lore and being able to see things that I've been through before. it's also the negative that it sounds like I might just see the things I saw before in a very mashup style. So that's what's kind of keeping it back from the top 3 range there. So obviously, I'm still very excited to go through them. I think it's really cool that not only are we going to see the more popular ones like a Dead End or even Slaughter Cinema, but we're also probably going to see stuff like The Spawning and Schoolhouse. So we're going to kind of touch all levels of Carrie lore, and that alone is exciting, even though it's that mashup style that I don't necessarily love usually. But I will say I fucking love Slaughter Cinema, and at the end of the day, that was a mashup. It's a little bit different, than actually taking scenes that have existed. But the base mashup thing usually isn't the recipe for me. But I've seen them make it my top before, so who knows?
Yeah. Well, that leads to my number 3. My number 3 is actually Welcome to
Did
Scary.
Nico do 4?
I didn't do it before.
sorry.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's fine.
But
No,
we've
go ahead.
done
You
this
said
before.
Scary. Yep.
We've
go
done
ahead.
this before.
Go ahead.
Yeah, Duff, I agree with a lot you said. It comes in as my number 3. I am so excited for this one, and I think the reason why I'm excited is that not only do I get to relive some of my favorite houses, I also get to experience some of the ones that I never got to see, and I always was sad about it. Like Leave It to Cleaver. Like I get to experience that again, and I'm super excited. And I also am excited about the potential of getting to see some of the things that I didn't quite like at the time. I think this was a way to be like, oh my, like I expected seeing like maybe an H&R Blood and Guts scene. How amazing would that be to pop up? Again, it wasn't my favorite house of that year, but I think seeing it in this house, just kind of I'm so excited for this one. Just going down like the list of the ones they've said that's going to be in here, and then the ones that have the potential to be in here. I really expect this to be a great house.
Nico, what you got at 4?
At 4, I have HHN Icons Capture.
Hey.
Okay.
Yeah, it's gonna be cool to see like a little bit of a monster mash, seeing all the icons come together, and yeah, I feel like this is something I'm looking more forward to than I would say Scary Ohio. Probably maybe not by that much, but I think it eases out a little bit more. But my top 3 is pretty well settled.
Okay. Hey, that's
between that. So
my top 3 is kind of well settled as well. So I'll go into my number 3, and that's Case Files Unearthed. So a big reasoning for this being so high for me is Legendary Truth has played a very interesting role in the lore of Horror Nights. It's really only been represented very directly in one house. And other than that, it's kind of been used as games and out of season events, and just in very different ways. It's really sounding like the focus of this house is going to be Boris Schuster, who is one of the biggest names within Legendary Truth lore. We've never actually seen a representation of him visually, and now he's getting a house. And it sounds like this is really gonna like follow a deep story and expand on lore even further. And I'm a sucker for that shit. As much as I like to go back and see things like Scary will be, advancing it is even better to me, especially when it's something that he's been teased to us for so long, and we're finally getting to see his story. So I'm very excited for this house.
Yeah, Nico, is your number 3 Case Files Unearthed?
It is not Case Files Unearthed.
Then I will jump you real quick, because my number 2 actually is Case Files Unearthed, Legendary Truth. And I agree with pretty much what you said, Duff. The only thing I would like to add is This one, I think I've always been really excited for it. But as soon as we got kind of like last week, we got the blurb and we got the potential of this being like what the feel is going to be, and it's going to be like the streets of New York and like a film noir. It immediately went all the way up to being one of my top two. As soon as I heard that, I'm like, oh, we're getting, the potential for a film noir feel here. Lore aside, if it was just a original, completely original, never heard anything, we got a Streets of New York film noir walkthrough house. It would be probably this spot. I think that just right there alone, I'm super excited to see how they pull that off. And then throw in that it's just so much fan service here with the Legendary Truth. Like it can't not be in my top two.
Wow, sounds like your number one must be real good to top that.
Case file. I mean, I'm gonna skip my number 3 and say that my number 2 is also Case Files Unearthed. Funny enough, we'll just leave 3 and 1 and like have it be a surprise. There's only 2 left, so after that, so
all right, what's your 3 real quick?
Well, okay. So
first, do you have anything to say about Case Files? Yeah.
Yeah, I this was the one that, like I said, we've known about the least. But like I said, as soon as I read the description of this, I was like, hell fucking yeah, brother. I am so looking forward to something like this. I am just like really excited for something like that. Like this is something that it's completely different from the rest of the event. From what I've seen, this one is more about like, investigation and stuff like that. Well, everything looks like it's, kind of like blood and gore and stuff here and there, with the exception of Beetlejuice. So I feel like this is the most different of all of them, while looking like it could have the best narrative out of everything here. So that's why I have that as my number 2. But for my number 3 is going to be Bride of Frankenstein Lives.
Oh, okay. Perfect.
I am looking forward to going through this house again and again and again and again. I really liked this house last year, and I really can't wait to see a full version of Bride of Frankenstein. And like, I've already waxed poetic about how much I really liked this house, so I don't really need to go into any more detail about that.
Well, I gotta say, I'm excited because our number 1's gonna be really easy. Because my number 2 is HHN Icons.
Oh wow! Wow! Wow!
Yeah!
Wow!
So really quick before we get into the obvious answer here, Icons captured. I'm excited because not only do I get to experience all the icons once again, it sounds like there's a legitimate story to this.
Mm-hmm.
They've teased that the finale is going to be a bit different each time. That there's a different, quote unquote, kind of winner. And it's not even too much to say about it. But when you take all the icons, you give them a legit story, tying them all like throughout the house. Man, it's just it's hard to put any lower than this. So the fact that something was able to beat this is impressive for me. So what is our number 1?
Well, how about you review? Well, let's go. But let's Nico do it, because it's kind of how we have done it before. Nico,
so our number 1 is Wicked Growth, Realm of the Motherfucking Pumpkin.
Oh, they spruced up the title.
Yeah, they did. They did. They put a little asterisk in there, but we know what it says. And who isn't excited about this house? I know we're really excited about it, and I've seen a lot of other people really pumped for it as well. And I know pretty much this is the house we're banking on will be the one that opens up from the Duff Garden Stain Scream. So
it's gonna be our first one.
Yeah, this hopefully will be our first one. It's either gonna be this or Puppet Theater, but I really hope it's Wicked Growth. I'm afraid that I'm liking this too much, or we're all going to be disappointed by it.
Yes. I was gonna.
That's a
do you know
deep
how
fear of
scary
mine.
it is that we are all hyping this up so hard for a
Yeah.
house in Sprung Tent 2 that we know literally nothing about?
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah,
you're
it's
right.
scary.
You're right. It is. It's a bit scary.
But
But
what we do know about it, however, like our number one before we knew a lot. What we have learned is that it's going to be fucking Halloween to the core. It is like Halloween house. It's all about the holiday.
Yeah,
Apparently,
brother.
going to see graveyards. Gonna like a haunted house. The fucking pumpkin lord. This is just like Halloween, and it sounds like it could be terrifying. And from things I've heard, it could be very impressive too. The sets could be phenomenal. Potential indoor facade that could be phenomenal. Man, whew.
We're all excited about this.
Yeah, no, I don't know what to add except to basically rewording what you guys said. Yeah, I know that out of all of these, I know that this house is going to scratch an itch that I always want this something out of Halloween Horror Nights or Halloween in general, and that is this is going to be just Halloween crack. This is going to be just we not only that we get this really exciting icon almost, like this, that kind of leads us through, this pumpkin lord. I'm really excited what they do with his story and what story they tell. I know that ultimately this one, unless we just overhype it ourselves, or unless there's some things that just don't quite work that they expected to work, and it doesn't do the logistics. I expect this to be one of my favorites.
Yeah, I'm not gonna guarantee this is gonna be my favorite by any means. But it would have to fall very, very, very flat for me not to really like this. And then this is probably me again getting too excited, but there's this off chance that maybe this does kind of tie into Twisted Tradition just because of the story. It really sounds a lot like it, which would then also tie it into Carrie lore, and then it just opens up so much more. And
yeah, and Duff, this one is like, of all the leaks and the pictures and the things, I don't know if it's out there. It might be, but I haven't seen anything.
The only thing that's been heavily seen is the outdoor facade, which it's really just it's a tunnel with pumpkins and shit. Like it's exactly what it's, and that's that's nothing. It looks cool, but it's nothing that's gonna make you go, oh yeah, greatest house ever. Like, so it's not even spoiling anything in any way. So like I said earlier, we know nothing about this house. We may have heard some things that may or may not be true, but we've seen nothing. At the end of the day, we don't really know everything at all. We barely know the base of what this is, to be honest, outside of Pumpkin Lord. So yeah, we might be hyping ourselves up to hurt ourselves at the end, but not stopping me.
Nope.
Yeah.
Just keep on smiling.
Yeah, there is a slight chance where this becomes a little bit like, what was the one in 2018 that I had it in my brain and then it just disappeared before I said it? The one in the mall that was like overgrown.
Oh, Seeds of Extinction.
Seeds of Extinction. I think like a lot of people had that really hyped, really hyped. It was going to be like one of their favorites, and then it just didn't quite live up to that expectation.
I mean, I really enjoyed Seeds. It also wasn't ever number one for me, so very different. But yeah, I mean, I see where you're going. There were a lot of people who were very, very hyped for it, and it didn't necessarily hit the levels they were looking for. So that it could be this. Same thing could happen here to us who are hyping this up so heavy.
Yeah, but the difference is this just has that Halloween feel, that has that is always going to keep it up. You know what I mean? Like at the end of the day, it has that going for it, and I think that's always going to make this exciting for me to walk through.
Yeah, definitely. I think again, it would have to miss the mark by a mile to not scratch that itch.
Yeah, for sure.
I don't know. Do we have anything more to say about it? I don't. We've
I
talked
don't.
about it a lot.
No.
We're excited.
I mean, I have heard some leaks about this also being potentially featured in the tribute store. Do we want to talk about that?
Oh boy.
I don't know what to add to that. I mean, that'd be
I mean,
great.
Yeah,
Oh,
because they always have like the particular.
Hey, you reminded me. We forgot to bring it up. Tribute store opens August 27th, and an annual pass holder preview on the 26th. We forgot that in news and rumors.
Oh yeah, yes,
there it is. There's your news that we missed an hour and a half ago.
Yes. So yeah.
But yeah, no, I think if it's gonna get put in the tribute store, that means they think very highly of the sets that are in the house, probably. So.
Yeah. So
I don't need to get any more hype for it. Just let's not.
Yeah.
There's also there's going to be some sort of like Halloween boutique over at Islands of Adventure. Have we ever talked about this?
No, we didn't. I forgot we didn't because I think we missed it by like a day because we miss everything by a day. When we dropped last episode, I went and checked it out. Actually, the day it opened, it's actually really cool. It feels like a mini tribute store. All the pumpkins ended up there. They got some candles that they're making from Magic Candle Company. They got some coffee from the Coffee Shop of Horrors. So small and local businesses being put to use there. Some cool merch released. That jacket that everyone's freaking out over that I did get my hands on.
Yeah, so
it's worth checking out for sure.
And I'm starting to think that there might be some wires crossed here. That when people said, "Oh, there's going to be a pumpkin lord themed room," there is definitely a pumpkin-y room.
Yeah, it has the vibe
built in here. So
it has the vibe.
maybe this is what people were saying when they said that there was going to be, maybe this is what this turned into. But we'll see.
We'll see. And I think we kind of look at it as we have everything announced, but there's still more. We got food, drinks, who knows, whatever the hell they could throw anything at us still.
Yeah.
We got the meat and potatoes of the event, but there's still little things to go. So we'll be updating you. I think we still have 2 more episodes before the event.
We do.
Wow, that's crazy. We're so close to the event. 2 episodes in less than 2 weeks too. So wow. We're gonna be checking into a room at Aventura before we know it.
Yeah. Yep. And Duff, do you know what's so exciting about this year is not only do we have this event and everything we just talked about, there's still stuff over at Cabana Bay, and a bunch of stuff expanded over there, that we haven't even really talked about in a while.
We haven't. I mean, we haven't got any updates, so it's tough to talk about. But it's visible now. There's an all jacked up or a jacked up experience, what's that? Help me think of the name here. Decal across the windows
sticker
of that area in Cabana Bay. I am super excited to go to the Horror Icons bar. I don't know if we've ever said this on the show, but it has come out that it's 2 p.m. to 10 p.m. will be its hours, and this is going to start opening day until closing day of the event.
Yeah.
So we get to go check it out well before HHN, which is perfect. This year is going to be special. It's going to be real special. And I think it was going to be special no matter what, just because of what happened last year. But I think even if that wasn't the case, this would be a phenomenal year. So I think when you tie those two things together, this is going to be one of those years that just you never forget. You're going to have vivid memory of the entire thing.
Yeah, and I will say that there was a little bit of I don't know if it's official, but there is a little bit of hubbub that there might be a potential like soft opening of that Cabana based stuff starting the weekend prior and then leading up to the event. But go by until you hear officially. Go by that Duff's official date.
Yeah. The website officially does say that. So
and I definitely follow up on what the rules are about how you have to experience this stuff.
I'll say it for you now. Horror Icons Bar open everybody, jacked up experience. You have to be staying at any Universal resort.
Fair enough. Okay,
so basically have a room key.
So we can head over there.
Correct. Yes,
okay.
we will be good from Aventura. Yeah.
I guess we'll have to hit that up when that's going to be a very busy day.
We're going to be so tired.
Oh, Nico, we're going to be dead in the best way possible.
I'm so glad it's Labor Day weekend.
Yeah. All right. Well, that day is already stressing me out. To be honest, that's and someday we're supposed to squeeze in a podcast recording sometime that day.
So the 4 a.m. podcast recording.
maybe we'll see how things work out.
Maybe we do that on Sunday.
Oh, we got more things coming too, but we'll get to that later.
Yeah.
Did you hear Nico's? Yeah, he's stressed. That was stress. Yeah.
Yeah, we got more things coming. I picked the wrong week to stop sniffing glue.
All right. Well, like Nico alluded to, there's a lot of more content coming up. We do have unless things change, we do actually have an official show for next week. Duff, what's you already mentioned it
I said
earlier,
it
but mention it again. Hey.
Yeah, Jonathan from the hotline will be joining us for our last of the pre-HHN Hollywood episodes. Now that we got kind of the full reveal there, we'll be going over that, dropping our hype list for Hollywood. So that'll be a fun episode. We always love it when Jonathan can join us.
Yeah. So, and also I'd like to mention, we have been putting these out on Fridays because logistically, at some point, our recording release date is going to switch back to that Monday that we usually try. Tuesday, is it Tuesday?
Oh, yeah,
Tuesday.
Tuesday.
Yeah.
That Tuesday that we usually try to do so, and that will probably happen right before the event.
In season.
And
I'd say
try to stay that during.
It'll probably be in season. I think. Well, no, it might be the week, but you'll figure it. We'll let you know when it's coming. Don't worry.
You'll figure it out, listener.
Hopefully you're subscribed and your podcatcher will do the work for you. So you don't necessarily have to worry about it. You'll just be surprised, and you'll have an episode to listen to.
Hey, it's those assholes again. Great.
Yeah. Like, oh, there we go. Them making jokes about. I can't even think of what Nico jokes about. There's some sort
Killer
of
clowns.
Thing. Yeah. Mac and cheese night.
Yeah, whatever.
Mac and cheese night.
Mac and cheese night.
Yeah.
Nico's worst one. Canned beef. I think that's
canned beef. Made that joke yesterday. Yeah.
You like that joke a lot. Yeah, the canned beef joke.
What was that one you dropped in the classic monsters dissection, Mike? That had us go, oh, no, it was about a club or something. No, okay.
Oh, the woodshed?
Yeah, that one.
Oh, yeah, the woodshed.
Yeah,
there we go.
Add them all to the HHN365 bingo card. Mac and cheese night, canned beef, the woodshed. We have our go-to jokes here.
Oh, one more thing. Dufftoberfest is already available if you'd like to go grab some.
Oh, it is? It's already there? Is that on tap?
I went already, yeah.
Oh, wow.
Wait,
Duff, you got your Duff?
Duff got his Duff.
All right.
Yeah, there we said it.
Can't get enough of that wonderful Duff.
So before we wrap up, we actually have a voicemail from our friend Kyle. Nico, would you like to go ahead and roll that for us?
Sure, let's go ahead and play it right now.
Hey, how's it hanging, HHN365 dudes? This is Kyle again. You guys want a voicemail, so I'm going to leave you one. So a scratch that needs to be itched for me, I would have to say is the overall Halloween aesthetic, and it's definitely getting scratched with that All Hallows Eve store that recently opened up in IOA. But I think that Realm of the Pumpkin is definitely going to do it for me this year. Definitely excited for that house, but that's a scratch. That's the itch that need to be scratched for me. And also wanted to pitch you guys a scare zone. You can elaborate on it or not. So I think it was a couple episodes back, you guys were talking about wanting a vamp scare zone again, or one of you were, pretty sure. So what about like a Vamp 2099, like a cyberpunky Vamp scare zone? And to elaborate more on this, so humans in the future would progress with metal body parts, arms, necks, so it's harder for the Vamps to feed there's hardly any organic parts for them to feed on. So what if the Vamps had to modify themselves as well? Maybe like the female Vamps had to get like metal claws and arms to rip apart these metal body parts off of humans to feed on the organic parts, and like males had to get like, of course they'd all have like metal fangs to dig in deeper, but like metal jaws to help rip apart these cybernetic parts to get to the organic parts to get that blood so they can feed. So they would also be faster in a way, and it would have like a dark synthwave music over the zone. I think it would be pretty cool. Anyways, you guys can elaborate on that or not. You guys are doing great. Keep up, the quality shows. I'm really enjoying it. And remember, just be excellent to each other and party on, dudes.
Well, thanks for leaving us a voicemail again, Kyle. He touched on a lot of things that we actually already talked about on the show. The All Hallows Eve store over in Islands, and then he agrees with us on the Realm of the Pumpkin. That's Scare Zone. I would be into it. Unfortunately, I don't think Duff could be able to go into it because he's a console gamer, and so he wouldn't be his. Oh my god! He wouldn't be able to experience it.
My PS4 couldn't handle it. Oh.
Yeah. His PS4 would not be able to handle walking into that.
I will say, Kyle, if you're excited about something like that, I think you're probably gonna love Seek and Destroy. It sounds like Seek and Destroy with fangs, and a bit of a vibe change, but I think there's a lot of similarities. And yeah, it sounds great. Of course it does.
Yeah. I mean, if you've listened to our show long enough, you would know that is absolutely right down our alley. But if it along with the cyberpunk, it might require a patch or two for it to be, they'll have to rework it a few times throughout the event to make it.
So will we get to experience it in like April?
Yeah. Yeah, basically. Yeah, by the end of the run, they'll have it. They'll have the bugs worked out.
Oh, good.
All right. Well, that just about does it, I think, right?
Yeah. Oh, one thing, fun thing. Episode 66. So in about 12 years, it'll be episode 666. How appropriate.
Yeah.
Hey.
We're a 6 short of a 666. But that it happens. All right, guys. Well,
does it happen?
Well, yeah. I'm always a 6 short. Yeah.
Oh.
All right. Good night, everybody.
As always, you can follow us and interact with us on Twitter and Instagram at HHN365. And you can always leave us a voicemail at 407-906-3405. We'll see you next week, and we'll see you in the streets.